It's a good thing that these issues are out on the table because it provides a sharp relief, I think, between different categories of politicians and different categories of political parties. So let me be direct about it. In this election campaign, I think you should look at what people do and not what they say. Because everyone is out there, including the Katter Party, mouthing platitudes about the idea that they support equality. Well, if you're going to trade on equality for your own base political purposes, then I don't think you support equality, frankly. And if you want to go out there and sell a message of hate in order to cause political mischief, then Rob, you're a brave man coming along, but I don't think you can profess to support equality in any meaningful way. I'd love to say something about the LNP. Of course, they haven't decided to bring a candidate along tonight. They have sent someone down the front here to keep an eye on all of us, so just be careful about what you say.
No, it's not. I'm here like everyone else.
Sure.
You're very good at cheap shots. It's okay.
No. I'm happy to have the conversation with you again in your LNP T-shirt on Saturday at Petrie Terrace Barracks like we have before. But nevertheless, I just want to make the point that Mr. Newman out there says that he has a view about these things and he's got a personal view. Well, what sort of person can't stand up for their own view inside their own party? What sort of person says that they might hold a view, but in fact they're going to toe a party line from someone who's outside of the parliament and directing them to vote a different way? Don't ever fall for the notion that the way in which the LNP has used civil partnerships in this election campaign in the political debate is anything other than a disgraceful trade upon the rights of equality and the legitimate aspirations of many Queenslanders. In my view, you're either for it or you're against it, and it's as simple as that. You can erect all the teepees of hidey holes and go and run away into the corner and make up all sorts of excuses, but either you're going to vote for it or you're not going to vote for it. And in the end, I'm proud to be a member of a Labor government. A Labor government that a generation ago said to people in this state that legitimate loving activity was no longer a criminal offence. A Labor government it took to do that. It was a Labor government in 1998 that extended the rights to individuals in the workplace. It was a Labor government that set out systematically across the legislative books of this state to remove discrimination based on people's sexual orientation, and it was a Labor government, Labor members of Parliament, who voted to provide for civil partnerships through the Parliament of Queensland under a conscience vote, while the LNP voted as a bloc against it. I make the point here. Look at not what people say in this election, look at what they do, look at what they've done, and on any given measure, if you seriously concern yourselves with the matters of equality, then frankly I think there's only one choice. I think the Greens have good policy on this front, but they're never going to be a majority on the floor of Parliament to effect change. If you want to see serious change that promotes equality for the future, then you should vote to return the woman sitting beside me and ask for your Labor vote in every electorate wherever you're from around the state, because the other mob, make no mistake about it, want to wind the clock back. They don't want to imagine a future that actually tells the truth about human relationships. They want to pretend it's not been going on for a little while. Well, here's the big news flash for them. It has, and it will, and they should imagine a future where everyone gets included. Thanks very much for having me.
Well, first of all, I don't know that it's tremendously accurate that we want to remove civil unions. What our core value says that we believe marriage is between man and a woman, and that's the institution of marriage. Civil unions I don't think is similar. It's sort of equality but not equality. And I'd like to talk about the previous question, and I for one thought that, you know, having been in government so many years, it could have been introduced earlier, and my party's view is no different to the Labor Party members, Margaret Keach, who voted against the Civil Partnership Act, and where she clearly stated that she believes marriage is between man and woman. And it's okay to have differences. It doesn't mean that we are then suddenly, because we think differently, that we want to persecute everybody else that thinks that differently. I think there's a vast difference between having a different perspective on an issue and being intolerant of an issue. You know, homophobic to me means that you have an irrational fear of homosexuality, and I can't find anybody that I've spoken to within the party that has that view. So, well, Bob Catter's not here and he's not sitting for election in the state. He's the president of the federal party. I think that if you take the moral ground, then suddenly become you're the moral. Anyone that speaks differently, you're suddenly a redneck or a homophobic. It just doesn't wash with me, not at all. And I thoroughly agree with what Andrew said earlier about being judged for what you do, because I've sat back and watched this election campaign, and I and amongst a lot of other people find it pretty disgusting what's been going on.